Hello. Here is some insider knowledge on how to pass IELTS with flying colors. With me, you'll get an even better grade and stand out from the rest as I point you towards the key aspects that make English English. So as to avoid typical pitfalls, first we will need to understand what aspects examiners are looking for, inner workings of the language. With me, you'll get a much more in-depth approach to English, and you'll come out feeling more confident when it comes to sitting the exam. Here are the main aspects I cover in the course. Move away from traditional analyses of grammar, which are verily an impediment to learning and a distraction from fluency, and grasp instead the flexibility of syntax and lexical items. Study the intrinsic semantics and underlying power of phonetics behind the words themselves. Focus on intent and function rather than on rules. Correct spelling and proper pronunciation involves phenomena, not rules or standards. For example, the so-called US-UK differences. Learn strategies for simulating how native speakers naturally condense and simplify for both concision and fluency, both for reducing word count and for clarity. Avoid repetition in writing. This is achieved by revising a draft before submission and using more precise words to express a concept in a given context. Avoid cliches like most people or many people. Use conjunctions sparingly for actual coherence rather than force inserting them for effect. Build lexis by learning synonyms and collocations or sets of words rather than single words that forms the backdrop of vocabulary. Finally, aim for excellence rather than strive to get a minimum pass grade. Another tip might be to talk to yourself, practice, especially if you're alone. Just talk to yourself. As I'm practicing doing this video. Here are illustrations taken from what I've just said for improving English. Instead of I will make you speak and write, or I will get you to speak and write, I said I will have you speaking and writing. So this aspect is modality and affixes. Another way is to rephrase for concision. And instead of saying, so that you don't, or in such a way that you, I said, so as to avoid. So you're also avoiding negation. Instead of not only, but also, which is cliche, I said, for both this and that. To illustrate what it means to improve grammar, take the following question. How long it takes I can go to the points 5 to 6. I would correct that and say how long would, or does it take for me or for one to go from a 5 to a 6 mark on the exam. Adequately learn how modality actually affects communication rather than memorize tenses and modal auxiliaries and so on. To detail my partiality towards standard course books, I will criticize the first book I come across for IELTS preparation. This one's a student's book conveniently titled Grammar for IELTS. This happens to be by Hopkins and Cullen from 2008 and published by Cambridge University Press, which is not to be taken with a university by the same name. I open it at a random page, and on page 110 I find it comparing wordings apparently from actual students, and I quote, "People are unkind about their colleagues, but it is simply because they are feeling insecure at work," end quote. Side by side, it is compared with another, claimed to come from a different student and to be the better one. Quote, "People can be unkind about their colleagues, but it may simply be because they are feeling insecure at work," end quote. However, my idea of this is that we should avoid people and they and to aim for more precise words. So I suggest rephrasing and rewording. Quote, "It is one's insecurities at work that one may behave with nonchalance towards one's colleagues, or it is due to one's insecurities." The book compares then another, quote, "Banning cars with fuel consumption is a good idea as it will result in less pollution." The improvement from another student is, "Banning cars with high fuel consumption may be a good idea as it could result in less pollution." So a more intricate use of backshifting with modality, except does sounding less conclusive actually strengthen one's argument? I say we should avoid good as well as formulating using with. The authors are suggesting that including modality is always a good thing. To that I say yes and no. My solution, and I quote, "Although banning cars definitely reduces pollution, not to mention lowers fuel consumption," and then I go to develop my argument further. So this book restricts content to grammatical issues. After all, it addresses strictly those issues. But that's just where the buck stops, since context and content, for example, not undermining your reader's intelligence, is key to greater success, not grammar alone. And these sorts of books just don't demonstrate how to do that. Thanks for watching.